Okay. My okay, this meeting just started for neighborhood food champions. We're doing a food showcase. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you later, but let me know what's going on.
Hi, Ross. How are you?
I'm good, D. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Of all days, I had to go in the office and then rush back home.
Yeah. All days my wife had to have a meeting with somebody after work, pick up my daughter, and she isn't home yet. So I had to cook dinner, water the garden.
I heard it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure my seeds kind of stayed wet.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
I didn't water the whole garden, just my direct sow things.
Hi, honey.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, Daniel.
Hello, Daniel. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I made it.
See you. I see you. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. I don't think I can see you actually. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah, I was about to say.
There we go.
We'll start at 6:35 as we normally do. And then it's full show. It's all you guys. Okay. It's also good to see some of the former food champions pop on. So Sierra, Danielle, Mary, thanks for popping in and supporting this new cohort.
I have a question. I know that each of us are supposed to introduce the following person. I'm last. What do I do?
As soon as you're done,
Thank
Dee,
you.
I'll take over. You're good.
Send us off with a song.
You don't want to hear me sing. I grow much better vegetables.
Wow, we have first year food champions, Taisha. This is great support from past food champions.
So were we supposed to put slides in the folder? Is that or no? Okay. I put the slides in there. Wasn't sure. Help me get my thoughts together.
You're okay, Danielle.
If we have slides, Ms. Rhonda, should we present them or should we just hold off on them?
No, present them. This is
Okay,
full-on
good.
presentation. Yeah,
Cool.
it's definitely, you're first. So
Yep.
yeah. So we're just gonna let folks kind of roll in. We're excited. We're all gonna have the mayor pop on. He's gonna call in. So we're excited about that as well. But we had about 45 people sign up to be a part of this. So we want to give folks a chance to log on. for the Food Champions current cohort, do your ritual, put your name and stuff in the chat so we can make sure that you're there. Iana, can you monitor emails to make sure that folks aren't sending us emails and having issues?
Since we have a few minutes here, I'm gonna be second. No, and I have my presentation here on my screen. So is it gonna be obvious when you share the screen with me how to just start? Am I just gonna click my file to run? Is that it?
Up, you find the presentation that you want and click on that. But we have, I think Iana has your presentation
Yes.
as backup.
Yes.
So
I wanted
Okay.
that for sure.
okay,
Thank you.
awesome.
Don't feel bad, Z. I'm right there with you. I asked my boss today, since technology hates me, can I hate it back?
Good evening. Yes, can everyone hear me?
Yes, thank you for joining us. We didn't know what time you were going to come in, so we're so happy to have you. This is Rhonda Bayless with the Center of Wellness for Urban Women. And so, yeah, everybody's on. So,
Well, Rhonda, I apologize for being a bit late. I'm not the most technologically sophisticated person in the world, and for whatever reason, the phone wouldn't accept my passcode. So it's taken me a while to get in, but I'm glad I'm in.
well, we're so glad you're here. They were, excited to hear from you. We are just so grateful to the city, Lele, and your office for supporting Food Champions these past couple of years. And so I know, like I said, the Food Champions were just great to hear you pop on the call.
Well, I'm happy to be with you, and I'm so delighted. Even if I'm not zooming in and calling in by phone, I think we've all probably had our fair share of zooming over the last year or so.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if I were able to see you all today. Look, I know that there's a lot to accomplish tonight, and I don't want to take any more time than is absolutely necessary. But I did indeed want to make this, however I was able to connect. I did want to make this a priority for me tonight. I know that our gathering by Zoom or teleconference is the culmination of 12 weeks of support, of guidance, of mentorship for this wonderful Neighborhood Food Champions program. And I know we've got a lot of presentations to get to, but I just wanted to take a bit of time and to express on behalf of our city, if I may be presumptuous enough to speak on behalf of the entire city, I do want to take time to thank you all for your commitment and for the commitment, frankly, you are showing to food access and to food security. We all know the past year has put an unbelievable strain on nearly every aspect of our city, including food access. And unfortunately, these issues surrounding food access, they were already a dire situation before the pandemic, which is why the proposals that are going to be given and that we're going to hear today are so timely and so valuable. We also, frankly, know that one solution won't work, doesn't work, shouldn't work really for every neighborhood. And that's why it was very important that the Neighborhood Food Champions effort allowed our city to partner with groups who represent people all across and all over Marion County, and who had diverse talents, diverse backgrounds, diverse perspectives. So after today, and with the funding from this program, I know you'll take your efforts out into a community that badly needs them. Now, a lot has changed since your first meeting in February. Hopefully for the better. And with each passing day, I do hope that our response to the pandemic continues to improve. But you're launching your projects in a city when face-to-face contact hopefully will become the norm once again. And it's time when our community needs to move forward and to recover from what has been a devastating year. You will be part of our recovery. You and your recommitment to curing hunger in the city of Indianapolis. I can't think of an effort more timely, more valuable, more noble than your efforts to help us cure hunger in every part of Indianapolis, every neighborhood, every zip code, without exclusion. So let me end my soliloquy by saying I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our very own Office of Public Health and Safety, our director of the first ever division of Food Policy and Nutrition, Malele Kennedy. And I would be remiss if I did not give thanks also to the Center of Wellness for Urban Women for the transformative opportunity that the Neighborhood Food Champions program provides. So, enough from me. I know we've got people we need to hear from. So to everyone involved, again, a sincere thanks for the efforts that have been so hardworking over these 12 weeks. And let's just simply begin this evening to hear from those who are most important to hear from, our presentations.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mayor, for that. We so appreciate you coming on the call. And so with that, we're going to get started. So welcome to the 2021 Neighborhood Food Champions Food Solutions.
Yay.
Yeah. So I am Rhonda Bayless, Executive Director, if you didn't know that, for the Center of Wellness. We also go by CWU. And so I did want to make mention of Malele. We have worked so diligently in the past 2 years together to make sure that we had some of the best folks to do the best work in their neighborhoods to really address food access and food insecurity. Malele, did you have anything you wanted to add before we get to the presentations?
I just wanted to take a moment and just say thank you. First, thank you, Mayor Hogsett, for allowing us the benefit of this program. I am very lucky to be able to be a part of this. I love my job because I get to meet all of you and learn from all of you. So I have thoroughly enjoyed being able to be at every meeting this year since it's been virtual. that's one benefit. It's like I've been here and been able to see you all, learn along with you, and find maybe a small little part of my heart that may possibly like eggplant. Uh, but thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to these presentations. So let's get to it.
Awesome. So I'm going to share my screen because we want to thank some folks before we get started. We have some really great partners. One of the big things with this program is making sure that our food champions are connected with great organizations in the community who are doing work around health equity, food, nutrition, etc. And so one, I just want to make sure that those who are on the call who have no idea why they're here, they just heard about this program. So a food champion, and now we have Neighborhood Food Builders, is an individual seeking to create solution-based sustainable opportunities in their neighborhood to impact food access and or food insecurity. As you well know, we've done 12-session classroom trainings on various topics to help sustain your projects around grant writing, advocacy and policy, procurement, nutrition, and more. Support during the development of their project, access to volunteers, additional resources and other educational opportunities are coming soon. We're excited that we're going to be able to offer our alumni maintenance mini grants to help with their projects this year as well. A little bit of the history. So this project was birthed out at Indie Food Council in 2017. Myself and Coffee King worked diligently of trying to figure out something that we can do under the umbrella of Indie Food Council to make this work kind of an equitable space. So there you have the creation of Neighborhood Food Champions. In 2019, we did receive some funding, the Center of Wellness, from the Office of Sustainability and LISC to do a smaller cohort of food champions in King Commons in the near Northwest, where we had 4 food champions come out of that project. And then the partnership with the Office of Public Health and Safety in the city of Indianapolis to broaden the food champion program. I have to say that I've enjoyed and really are happy with our partnership. Malele and has really worked really well with us in helping us to develop the project even further. And this year, like I said, we added on the Neighborhood Food Builder to support those individuals who have made a little more experience, may have a little bigger backing from larger organizations, but still need support. Then also offering an alumni maintenance mini grants for those our alumni cohorts who need help with their projects. And so we have a few folks lined up already for those. So this year we had some really great partners. I'm so excited just to say all these people on your screen showed up and provided some level of education to help our food champions. It is important that we connect our residents, neighbors, individuals who are doing this work with some of the larger institutions that can help sustain their projects. And so that's a big part of why we invite in these types of organizations, so that when opportunities come about, when volunteers are needed, things like that, we can make sure that they're connected to the right entities and they can move their projects forward. So, of course, if you have any questions about food champions, this is how you get in contact with me at the Center of Wellness, but also Malele Kennedy at the city. Like I said, we're excited for the future of Neighborhood Food Champions and Neighborhood Food Builders. We have so much more ideas and things that we want to do in the future. So just kind of keep contact with us so we know when Food Fund is coming about, the next round is coming about. And so now it's time for our presentations with our Neighborhood Food Champions and Food Builders.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ayanna Madden. I am the AmeriCorps Public Ally working with CWU and OPHS I am happy and so excited to introduce our very first presenter. We'll be hearing from Steph Gray, who's a neighborhood food builder.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much. I'm gonna share my screen here. Awesome. Can y'all see that? I can't see you guys, but
Yes.
hopefully, okay, cool, thanks. As Ayanna said, my name is Steph Gray. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and my project is Thank You Neighbor, Indianapolis Mutual Aid Food Alliance. So Thank You Neighbor started in 2020, right after the pandemic hit, as an additional resource to the food pantries in Indianapolis. We have over 200 food pantries in Indianapolis, but there wasn't a 24/7 self-service pantry solution for folks, especially in the southeast side of Indy where I'm located. So I partnered with Southeast Community Services to have a 24/7 pantry outside of their youth center, where they already have food donations twice a week. And then they have a community fridge inside near the Health Net desk as well, that's open the same hours as SCCS. So initially the goal was to expand our community fridge and pantry program. And while that is definitely still a priority for us, we're in conversations with Damien Center to expand there, as well as working with other Health Net locations. As I was going along our programming for neighborhood food builders and champions, I realized that we really needed to look at this from a macro level, and that a lot of mutual aid organizations and all this amazing work that all y'all are doing could use a resource with someone in your corner. So the goal is Thank You Neighbor to expand into a mutual aid lobbying and advocacy arm as well, that helps support other mutual aid orgs fighting to end food insecurity. So as an advocacy group, our goal is, like I said, to support y'all. So whether that's community programming, how to get funding, sharing funding opportunities, serving as a voice in within local orgs and with elected officials, and having those conversations with them to make sure that they understand the work y'all are doing in their communities and for their constituents, and ways to advocate best for the work you're doing if you can expand it further, if you have additional help with Senate bills or any bills that are going to get passed. As well as just to connect to national other orgs. I've been very thankful for our community fridge program to be connected to other community fridges, and both in Indianapolis with the work Deandra is doing and with the work across the nation. So helping y'all with anything that you guys might need and really serving as like a service arm. So that is the work Thank You Neighbor is doing. And we're hoping to expand more throughout this next summer and get some surveys out to you guys and additional meetings, but I look forward to working with you all. And I am going to pass it to the next presenter. Oh, sorry, my vacuum just went off. Z, thanks.
Okay, great. With that, I guess it's my turn. So I am with the IMCA, Indianapolis Muslim Community Association, and we are trying out of our food pantry to promote a vegetable garden on site to hopefully promote growing vegetables either on site with us or in people's homes or from the neighborhoods around us. So let's see if I can, is that showing to you? No, not yet. I think I have to share first, right? Okay.
There we go. I see your screen.
There you go, Z.
Is it?
I can see your desktop.
There. Okay. Is that showing now?
Yep.
Okay. Now, how do I get it to run? Let's see. Hold on. From the beginning. Yes. Welcome to the IMCA Community Vegetable Garden Project. Garden for community and garden for a community. This project will inspire a love of growing and eating fresh food and expand the horizon of our participants' ability to tackle the unfamiliar. Of those neighbors living around our project, many of them are families who have immigrated to this country. People who find themselves in a new land where nothing is familiar. often just need a friendly hand offering the possible to be inspired and envision where they can go from here. Mentoring and community building is the friendly hand offered. The community garden shows the way to possible. The goals that we have for our garden are to encourage neighbors and community members to find joy, success, and better health through gardening and growing fresh. To prepare participants to tackle unfamiliar life events through garden mentoring. To improve the physical and social health of community through increasing fresh food access, physical activity, and building neighborly connections. Now you may ask, why at Masjid al-Fajr? Why there? Who's going to benefit? The Imka al-Fajr Mosque is located in the 46222, which is a low access, low income area of Indianapolis, according to Savvy and the USDA Food Access Research Atlas. The neighborhood attracts many immigrant families from diverse cultures and countries. The mosque is a familiar place, close, and has open land and mentors ready to help. There is a path by the garden crossing from the neighboring residents to the south, which they use to cross and come to the services on the mosque campus. These immigrant families can be attracted to a welcoming, close-by project within walking distance. They can bring their friends to come and look, help a little, and slowly gain confidence that I too can do this. When we look at our community around us and those who use our food pantry, we found that 3/4 of them are originally from outside the United States. And if we look at that by region, half of those are from West Africa, another 1/4 or a little more from East Africa, and the rest from the Middle East and even South Asia and North Africa. Imka Community Garden in the works. From produce only from wieners supplied through the food pantry to produce being able to be grown in our own garden or even the garden at your home. Of course, every project has to start with volunteers. So the call went out and actually people showed up. They were pretty happy. And so it began with the great help of Brooke Alford and Linda Adams from Purdue Extension Service, put on a workshop for us to get us going. And they did get done. All 4 filled with dirt, ready for planting. We want to have a planting event to bring the community and the neighbors over to get excited to see real plants going in the garden. On my last evening there, after putting on the last toppers of the box, I was about to leave when somebody came over asking, "What is this going in?" Although we'd advertised, they hadn't heard about the garden. And after I started talking with her, another neighbor from a home was peeking from the edge of the fence looking what we were doing. So I waved her on over and she said, "I really want to have a garden in my yard. Can you guys help me and give me some advice?" So it already had started. We got the 2 main goals of the garden, people interested in the boxes themselves and people wanting to grow in their own homes. So where do we go from here? Now that the boxes are complete, we do have to secure that water connection, get that finished.
And June 1st, or at least thereafter, we should be having our invitational planting event. And I think by that time, we'd love to have 2 outdoor benches, even if it's wood and bricks. We've noticed that people do like to kind of gather around the boxes, even they're empty right now. June through August will be our main events also that will hold 4 educational gatherings at the garden. And through those events, to collect information and demographics on at least 20 families while surveying their ease of access to fresh vegetables, interest in garden participation, and or gardening mentoring. Future challenge. I think for next year, we'll be looking at installing low-cost irrigation water source from the city water over at the street. And as far as expansion for next year, I think that will be the choice of community members, and hopefully by that time they'll have their input, what they would like to do next year. Thank you very much for caring enough to listen about our project.
So then I stop sharing, right? So we're really excited to get started. And as I said, we've gotten some little neighbors trickling over already, and we're looking forward to growing that a lot. So I need to pass it to Mambusa. Is she here?
Hi, everyone. Mambuso is currently having technical difficulties. So if it's okay, we would love to hear from Torian next.
Okay, thanks.
Beautiful. All right. Let me just share my screen with y'all. Okay. Do we got it? Is it good?
Yep.
All right, cool. Oops. So my project, I'm Torian Jones. My project is called Soil Remediation and Green Space Development. Quick, who am I? Again, I'm Torian Jones. I can't see the screen. Was born in Terre Haute. I grew up in Indianapolis. I grew up in food insecure areas my whole life. Came from poverty, single mother, 5 siblings. Where the location that's this project is taking place is in Georgetown Pocket Park. This project is in the Mapleton Fall Creek area. It's the 46205 zip code. It's in between West 36th and Salem Street. This small park, it has a archery range. It has 4 raised beds that have already been established for the past 4 years. But over the past 2 years is when me and another community partner with that, who is also alumni for Food Champions, Sierra Knuckles, with the Community Food Box Project. We both started working on this park because we saw that the raised beds were there. They were a little bit tattered, and we figured, it'd be cute to Sierra ran into the owner, and she figured it'd be cute to put some vegetables in there, some peppers, see if they take off, and if we could keep them around, it'd be something cool, because we knew people constantly went there, because Sierra lives right down the street. I live right across the street as well. I often went there just to hang out, and I've seen people plenty of times, browsing the area, playing archery. But what happened after we initially planted, sometimes we'd miss days of watering, just being busy with work and our other projects that we have to do professionally. But we noticed that people were coming to the park and they were, you know, taking it upon themselves to prune, to water, and to do things. So we're like, that got us super excited. And we had another conversation with the owner of the lot, and he was even more ecstatic. And from that, he was willing to purchase some, you know, shovels, some more dirt to fill the already existing like uh, raised beds. You know, the fire pit was done up better. You see flowers around it now. I don't know if you see those roses on the top right picture there. It looks beautiful, and you know, even more people come through, and uh, I, I believe there's a little bit of disappointment though, because you know, we didn't have time or the resources to get more seeds for this season, you know, and with COVID, it kind of slowed down. So, but upon pruning the already existing collard greens and whatnot, more people, I started noticing the collard greens were getting skinnier and skinnier, and like more, I had to wait a little bit longer for the fresher ones to come in. So I at least knew people were using it. So with that all being said, I ramble, but like this is a park that I've been going to for a while. So it's exciting that like at its peak, like the
Hello?
everybody around was getting involved. But my goals for the project are to restore, reconstruct, construct, improve, and provide. Restore the soil to an arable state. So there are a lot of areas that are just open or overtaken with weeds that we want to really tackle. And you know, we want to use non-invasive plants that won't cause a problem for the raised beds at any point, but it'll also take toxins from the soil. And I want to reconstruct the weathered beds that are already there. Unfortunately, when the beds were first constructed, they weren't really informed to not use treated wood. So treated wood has a lot of toxins that are not suitable for soil. So our goal is to clean up that and replace the wood with some food safe wood. Construct new beds for perennial harvesting. Now, with perennial harvesting, the goal is that if it does fall behind, we don't have time or the resources to buy new seeds. We have an already existing gene pool of like beautiful local seeds that are appropriate for the area. Now, a big thing about food sovereignty is having culturally specific foods that are nutrient dense and viable foods for the diet. And a lot of those foods are perennials because with okra, it was brought from Africa. So, okay, I'm gonna keep rambling. So, when I construct these new beds, they will be for perennial harvesting, and be sweet potatoes, onions, collard greens, cabbage, things that are gonna come back and are low maintenance. Improving the space that is overtaken with weeds is also going to remediate the soil with sunflowers. Now, with sunflowers, they take ground contaminants such as leads, and yeah, you get the gist. But the my final goal is to provide that additional nutrient diversity that may not be otherwise available. Now, those familiar with the Mapleton Fall Creek area, and namely the 38th Street subsection, you have now a Save-A-Lot. Before then, we didn't have anything for a few years. And though the Save-A-Lot is there aren't, back to food sovereignty, there aren't culturally specific foods and produces available in those areas. Now, growing up in this area of Mapleton Fall Creek, there is a lot of island culture, a lot of African diasporic cultures that are mixed, and there's not direct access to ginger, your Scotch bonnets, your leeks, your green onion, your scallions, your again, your collards, your okra, and these are all culturally specific foods that have for centuries kept us alive and well. And again, this is a park that has been utilized for longer than a lot of the apartments have been there. These are old houses, these are old structures, these are old families that have been here. Even though I was born in Terre Haute, I grew up in Indianapolis, and I have family that grew up here too. And I've known the same people. I've seen the same people my whole life. So I know this area. And that brings me to the method, phytoremediation. Phytoremediation is with sunflowers, removing ground contaminants on these areas of land that are they've been developed over and over again. We have houses, we have apartment complexes, and back in the day we had lead and paint, and that paint chips away and gets into the soil. We have other, we got plenty of contamination in the soil that can actually be naturally sucked up through something as simple as a sunflower. It looks beautiful and it has a practical use. Perennial seed, again, I just explained to you the cultural significance of these different foods, and providing that keyword viability. What is viability? It is a food that is nutrient dense, that can provide you protein and nutrients that you're not getting from your normal diet, which is the immediate sources around you. Which again, back to the Save-A-Lot, which is the closest thing in miles. Still, there's only a small amount of produce. So with that, new untreated wood, rebuilding, new beds, different beds that are built for sweet potatoes, larger, more depth, and hard work. Because when the community sees that there's hard work in the park, people notice, people come through, and they want to help too. But when you come into a park and it looks a certain way, you don't want to do a bunch of work. It becomes a chore at that point. It's a community endeavor when you go to a place and you feel fulfilled by being there. Archery range, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, I don't get to do archery, but now I could go on eBay or something, or at the pawn shop, and buy a bow and an arrow and like shoot the thing a couple of times. That's just an extra leisure activity. But we're also providing foods that are they're easy to grow. They're local. We can locally grow them with our climate, and we could then provide more viable foods for folks. And I think the area, it's already a community, but providing that extra free aspect of something that somebody already uses, like, oh, there's food here, I'm gonna take some home. People have been taking home the food. It's just something that trickled through. And before I keep rambling, because I'm a rambler when I'm nervous, I'd like to finish my presentation and bring on the next folks who are doing beautiful things in the city, which is Lydia and Gail Watson. Thank you guys once again. Okay. Do I unshare screen? What do I do? Stop share? All right.
All right. Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen here so we can get out you guys' way.
The anticipation is building.
Sorry. All right, here we go. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Nancy.
Did you know young African Americans are living with diseases that are typically more common at older ages for other races? Yeah, according to Census Bureau projections, the death rate for African Americans is generally higher than whites for heart disease, stroke, cancer, asthma, influenza, pneumonia, diabetes, HIV/AIDS, and homicide. Listen, African Americans in some cases are 2 times as likely to die from heart disease than whites, and 50% more likely to have high blood pressure. The problem is good nutrition and access to good nutrition. Families in low-income areas are more likely to be in poverty and less likely to have 1 car per adult. Many households in these areas have no access to a vehicle, and many rely on transit. Listen, good nutrition is essential in keeping current and future generations of all Americans healthy across the lifespan. People with healthy eating patterns live longer and are at lower risk for serious health problems, such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity. People living with chronic diseases, healthy eating can help manage these conditions and prevent complications. Did you know that in Marion County, 30% of Black residents live in food deserts? That's 82,000 people. Listen, we know that better dietary habits can improve our health quickly, and we can act on that knowledge by making and building on small changes that add up over time. But we can change outcomes. Rethink food on the go. If we're honest, convenience sometimes, if not most of the time, drives our day-to-day meal choices. When it's time to get off work, drive through traffic, pick up kids, and busy schedules, what we eat that day is what's easily accessible. And sometimes it's at the expense of our health, which affects our fitness, our breathing, energy, mental strength, and overall quality of life. Our children develop poor eating habits, and the cycle of disease and sickness goes on and on. But the Neighborhood Go Grocery is going to break this cycle. We rethink food on the go. We will meet our neighbors where they're at. Do you know how excited our kids are when they hear the ice cream truck coming down the street? The house goes into a complete panic to find loose change and hates to flag it down for a sugary sweet scoop of their favorite flavor. But what if our children could get just as excited for the Go Grocery mobile store? Panically and excited to find loose change in haste for a fresh Granny Smith apple, orange, or a chain of bursting grapes.
The goal is to partner with local growers, nutritionists, WIC, and Accept SNAP to expand our accessibility and affordability. We offer a clean, shoppable space that travels. Think of all the possibilities: school visits, events, and more.
We plan to increase community engagement, increase pride in neighborhoods, increase overall health of children and families, reduce child abuse, sickness, and increase health, circle local dollars for a better economy, and better overall quality of life. Currently, we are engaging our neighbors on social media and taking surveys. We are locating partnerships and funding and finalizing our design. With the Food Champion Award and stipend, we purchased our first vehicle. Additional funds will be needed to retrofit and stock before launch. Partnerships will be key for sustainability. Partners such as healthcare companies and other community-conscious business owners. The Neighborhood Go Grocery's overall mission and vision is this: we are increasing quality of life by mobilizing access to food quality. Thank you for listening, and remember to follow us on our social media pages. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? No, sorry. No, perfect.
Can I
well,
just say that was highly impressive?
Amazing.
Was it's wonderful.
Thank you. All right, we're going to introduce our next food champion. Will be Kitty.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kitty Seelig. I'm Executive Director with Helpings of Hope, and I just am so excited to be here tonight. Actually, I'm on vacation. I'm in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. But I wanted to thank Rhonda and Ayanna and Malele and Mayor Hogsett, and above all, my fellow food builders and food champions. I tell you what, I'm just so excited and so honored to be with you all tonight. And I wanted to present to you our project, and let me bring it up here. This is actually, let's see, is it right here? Okay. Can everybody see that? Can everybody see that?
Nope, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Share screen. Let's see. What would that be?
Go back to yours.
Okay. And right there. Okay, sorry, everybody. Right here? Okay. Sorry.
There we go.
You got it? You got it now? Okay. All right. I'm sorry? Okay.
No, we have it. Go for it, Kitty.
Okay, sorry. I want to, let me bring up this one. I want to welcome you to Nora Community Garden. Our garden is a multicultural garden. And as you enter the garden, you see this sign, which has several different languages that welcome you into the garden, including Swahili, French, English. The only one that we don't have is the Karen and Karenni. But Helpings of Hope manages Nora Community Garden, and we're all about building relationships, community through our projects that basically center around and uses food as a platform. We are passionate about ending hunger in our city in Indianapolis. And here's basically what we do. Again, we're passionate about ending hunger, and how we do it, again, through the community gardens. We also do food and nutrition education. We have a future goal of a community cafe. So I want to focus tonight on our community gardens. Our community garden is located in Nora, where we're behind New Heights Church. We're right on East 86th Street. We have two types of gardens, and one is our donation garden, and 100% of the produce that is grown in this garden is given to church benevolence programs, food pantries, soup kitchens. And so that's our donation garden. We have 10 raised garden beds, and then we have also a perimeter around the garden. And then we have, there's another picture of it. And then there's another picture of it. And then we have a community garden where over 40 families come and raise their produce and for their families, for their communities. And we saw in the Nora area such a diverse community of immigrant and refugee. And so over 100 different languages were spoken in this area. So there's a large amount of resettled communities in this area. And just to kind of give you a little bit of background, immigrants make up about 20% of the low wage workers, and many do not utilize food stamps, and less than 4%. And then immigrant children are at higher risk of economic hardships and food insecurity. So in 2020, despite COVID, we had our largest amount of people, immigrant and refugee community gardeners. We had 42 gardeners representing 9 different countries, from the Democratic Republic of the Congo to Colombia, Mexico, Burma, the Karen and Karenni. And so this summer, or this early spring, we had, in less than 2 hours, we signed up 49 community gardener families. So that set a record for us. So you know that the need is great in that community, and thank goodness that we were able to provide some space for our community gardeners. So this will impact almost over 200 people. Many of the gardeners have come from refugee camps where the living conditions were brutal, and a chance to reconnect to the soil is not only to help them be food secure, but provide them with that emotional connection back to the soil. The community gardeners are expert farmers, and in their home countries, many of them sold their produce. This is how they made their living. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to have that also here in the US. And many of the community gardeners, that's another thing, is access to their cultural foods, where they may not be able to buy the cultural foods. They're just not available here in the US, or if they are, they're very expensive. So, when you're dealing with food insecurity and just the thought of, not being able to have, your comfort foods, that can definitely be a barrier. So the gardeners, our goals, let me show you kind of some pictures here. There's another of our gardeners. Here's some produce of our garden. So this is on the right-hand side is African eggplant. African eggplant is a very hot commodity. So our gardeners are growing that. On the left are various beans and peppers, cucumbers. Those are also cultural produce in the Karen and Karenni communities. So with our project, what we want to do, the gardeners want to take it to the next level or to that next step in being self-sustainable and sell their own cultural produce through a farm stand or through wholesale. And so our goal is, our long-term goal is to start a market farm and eventually open their own grocery store where they can sell or provide fresh cultural produce for their communities. So the Neighborhood Food Champion and Builder Project will focus on starting a farm stand and then also securing land for the community gardeners to grow this produce. So in early March, we held, our organization Helpings of Hope held a stakeholders meeting with interested gardeners from Purdue Extension, community partners in the Nora area. And it was decided that our current location did not offer enough land to sustain a viable farm stand. So the search is on to lease property or from the city or for the market farm. So ideally we're looking for 2 to 5 acres in the Nora area where gardeners can walk, or they could ride a bus, drive that's close to their homes. And we also have a farm stand. We're working with First Baptist Church, and they have expressed an interest. They're very supportive of us to start our farm stand. And this is a high traffic area because they have a very active youth sports program. And then along on 86th Street, we would have a lot of foot traffic. So the Helpings of Hope Board of Directors with our community gardeners, we are going to strategically have a plan out moving forward about how to secure land and then to finalize our market farm program or our business plan. And this is our contact information. If people are interested, or if you know of any place preferably in the Nora area or West Side area about land, and this is our contact information. And if there's any question or any questions or anything like that. And it is presentation. And so if there's not any questions, or are we going to do that like at the end or anything like that?
You're fine to ask right now.
Okay.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions.
Time crunch, so I don't want to take up a lot of questions, but okay. And I can't read the chat, so anyway, if there's not any, then I can go ahead and introduce our next speaker.
No, there wasn't any in the chat, so go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
Great job.
Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody. And then I will turn it over to Sybil Satterfield.
Hello, Sybil, are you there?
I thought I was all ready to go, right? And there you have it. Good evening. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you so much for being patient with me on this process. Ayanna, thank you. Thank you to Mayor Hogsett and to all the distinguished guests and to our cohorts. I'm so glad to be presenting this. My name is Sybil Satterfield. I'm the principal at Street Beat Streetside Market Garden. And my program is called the Second Chance Personal Development Farm Program. And this is a program that's aimed at helping helping our so-called ex-offenders who are on probation move into growing food with the idea of getting into the cannabis industry when it comes, because what was once free, meaning cannabis, was criminalized and now it's being decriminalized. And this disenfranchisement that particularly men of color have gone through over the years has resulted in their being disenfranchised and they're being left out of the legalization of commercialization of cannabis. And we know that recent social unrest has shown us that now the tables are turning, our eyes are being open, and the process or project or goal is really simple: to teach Black men to grow for food first. That's the model that's going to get them ready to grow for cannabis. So I just wanted you to think for a minute about how many industries have been created historically in this country where Black men were excluded from them. Example, if you remember, the Selma bus boycott back in the day, or you heard about it, none of the transit operators were Black. But now, if you look at what's happening in Indianapolis, guess what? They're all Black. But too many examples of disenfranchisement exist. When the colonizers came, the head right was given, which meant that the head of household just gave himself the right to 40 acres of land. Slave agriculture built this country. Then we went from slave agriculture to the industrial age, and the robber barons took over. The age of information, the technology age, were industries that have left the Black man disenfranchised. But the jig is up. I just want to let you know. Right now, things are changing. Things are turning around, and Streetside Market Garden is here to help that change come to fruition. And our goal is to teach marginalized men to grow and to prepare to benefit from the burgeoning cannabis market. And we're going to do that by teaching them to grow culturally, familiar foods. We'll teach men on probation to grow food to help them establish track records as growers in this city to get ready to get their license to grow. Historically in this city, we've had farms like South Circle Farm with Amy Matthews and Indy Urban Acres with Tyler Guth grow food. Down at Indy Urban Acres, they trucked in tons and tons and tons of wood chips, yeah. So they could put a buffer between the bad soil and the new soil and grow food, and created some drainage mayhem down there. And Tyler over at Indy Urban Acres had lots of volunteers, and they grew lots of food to donate to area pantries. But I want to introduce you to this fictional character named Taiwan, and he is just somebody who represents too many young Black men in Indy, and they're looking for a way to get in the game and out of the system. So we'll just say that Taiwan recently moved to from the south side or east side of Indy. And the only sin that this young man committed wasn't even his. His mother was caught up in the crack epidemic of the 80s and 90s, right? And now he suffers with dissociative personality disorder, PTSD, and he has child support arrearages and all that kind of stuff. So he stays in trouble because he has to drive, and then he gets pulled over. And the next thing you know, he doesn't have a license and all that kind of good stuff. Or I misspelled Mario's name, okay? But he's another fictional character. And he's undocumented, okay? And he lives in fear of deportation, though he's working outside of criminal activity to provide for his family. But I promise you, when the residents of Indy want certain work done, they're looking for a Mario to get it done on the cheap. So social and moral barriers leave the Taiwans and Marios of Indy feeling disenfranchised. But then Mario is going to discover Streetside Market Garden Second Chance Urban Farm Program, okay? And he's going to learn how to grow ginseng, hemp, and other high-value cash crops, as well as culturally familiar foods. He's able to feed his family now and to position himself for astronomical growth in the cannabis industry in the future, because I promise you it's coming. So how are we going to do this? We're going to do some guerrilla gardening, okay? We've reached out to the land bank people at Renew Indy, and they said, oh, you can buy these properties, but we don't have money. So we're just going to grow food, because Renew Indy once did offer lease licenses for urban farm programs, but that's no longer the case. So we're just going to turn over the soil and build the farms. And if you want to know how prolific Street Beats was, in 2015, my former partner and I grew on the west side of Indianapolis 2,000 pounds of food. That's 1 ton, using a spade, a hoe fork, let me get it right, and a wheelbarrow and a homemade soil sifter. If you want to know what a hoe fork is, some people call it a potato fork. But there were no petroleum inputs, no offsite fertilizers were added, and no something else that I forgot to put in my presentation. But you can relate to the idea that nobody wants to spew any more carbon emissions into the air, okay? We're not using rototillers. We're not having a fertilizer truck in. We're not having, wood chips or anything, no cardboard, none of that. We just dig in the ground. And so we raise 2,000 pounds of food. That's 1,000 pounds per man. We are going to partner with another prolific partner, Lawrence Community Gardens, and Sharana Moore. I worked with this goddess a couple of years ago as she was helping me with the young man I was working with who was on probation and had to get community service in. She let him come and fulfill his community service hours on the farm, because he couldn't just go anywhere and do it because he had some domestic, violence issues. And so we're looking forward to reestablishing that partnership again. Also, we've talked to Sebeco. I'm getting all of my friends' names mixed up. Sebeco, over at Flanner House, and he said, hey, so well, you can unload your food at the pantry over there. I'm like, yay, because what these kings don't take home to their family, we have to unload somewhere. Now, just to let you know, right now in Indiana, cannabis is not legal, but you know what? It's coming. We all know it's coming. We know it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And when this happens, what's going to happen is that you're going to have established yourself as a person who has grown before, and then you have to have the money for that astronomical fee, right, to be able to grow. But the bottom line of this program is we don't need a whole lot of money. All we need is some spades, some spade forks or hoe forks, a couple of wheelbarrows, a couple of wagons, maybe a porta potty if they have to, because we don't want them to run behind the trees out there. But after that, that's it. We have a timeline that hasn't been so timely as it relates to our output, but it's coming. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you it's coming. I want to direct you to Facebook and the Street Beats Streetside Market Gardens Facebook page. You can see the history of what we did there and all the beautiful produce that was gone, the little bunnies that were out in the garden and them sitting there eating the clover. They never, ever, 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 ever touched our crop. They just ate the clover because we left the soil intact where we were not planting the food. I'd like to thank you for your time and consideration. And you can contact me at this email address you see on the screen if you have any questions that you want answers to. And with that being said, I'm going to pass the mic to DeAndrea. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. So a little background about, can you guys hear me? Okay, so my name is DeAndrea Rayner. I'm the founder of Indy Community Pantry. And I have a video. You would think I did this so many times that, okay. Oh. Maybe if I close out all these screens. Oh. Okay, here we go.
I hate to interrupt. DeAndrea, if there's sound, we can't hear it. You might have to restart the share. And on the share option button or the share option window at the bottom left corner, there's a little box you can click that says share sound.
Okay, so it says share screen. So hit that.
Yeah, but you see when that pop-up window shows your open tabs at the bottom left corner.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Act like y'all never saw that. Okay, let's try again.
I had to learn the hard way as well.
Okay.
Items that you can eat on the go. My name is DeAndrea Rayner. Indy Community Pantry is non-perishable pantries and also community refrigerators, which are placed around Indianapolis in food deserts or poverty-stricken areas. When COVID started, it was still a need for people that was hungry, but nobody wanted to be in contact. So I thought it'd be a great idea to put non-contact food pantries out around Indianapolis so you can still help people without coming in contact with them. So today, Hang Time, Monty, he took me grocery shopping to help fill 2 of the refrigerators and some of the food pantries. We're gonna have non-perishable items that you can eat on the go, lunch meats, water, baby wipes, sanitary items, chips, fruit snacks. It was a lot. We grabbed a lot. And the motto is take what you need and leave what you can. So they're open 24 hours and anybody can take stuff out of it. You can follow us on all social media platforms at Indy Community Pantry or www.indycommunitypantry.org.
Did you guys hear it? Okay, so I grew up 46208 area. So there was really I grew up in a food desert. So this is true to my heart and something that I think that if I had grown up, it would have made a huge difference. Because people have pride. A lot of people don't want to go to drive-through pantries or be seen going to pantries. So I thought that a 24-hour refrigerator or pantry would be good for food deserts. And what I am trying to do is work with the health department and find a safe way and a code that I can have or that we can work on to be able to continue this. And that is it. And I am gonna pass it on to Daniel Garcia.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can
Hello?
hear you.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen really quick. Hi, my name is Daniel Garcia. I'm the owner of Garcia's Garden, and we are on the far east side of Indianapolis. We've been there since 2009. The farm has only been there for this is the 7th season. And here's a little bit about who we are. We're a small but mighty urban farm providing delicious produce using organic practices to the Indianapolis area. We also sell through some online distributors, so we're really selling into all throughout Indiana, Kentucky, a little bit of Ohio, and even into Michigan. And we also ship internationally. So we're kind of we've kind of expanded just to develop a market base. You can kind of see there, we're mainly doing produce, and we do a little bit of maple syrup and honey and plants as well. So last year, I have a lot of friends who are working in the food access field, and just hearing how the food pantries really exploded. I drive by a plot at 21st and German Church about every week, and I would see that it was just not being farmed. Turns out it's owned by the Parks Alliance, and it's managed by Indy Urban Acres, and they were just overwhelmed because they had to cancel their youth program, which is a lot of the labor. And that's about an acre plot. So I've been talking with them, and since since we grow food and we see a need, and Indy Urban Acres already has a lot of the volunteer base, the connections with food pantries, and some, and their staff, we thought we could enhance what they're already doing since we're so close. And so really all the produce that we're growing at this site is going to be donated to the food pantry. We're not taking anything of it. Really the goals are just to enhance the food access by generating healthy produce. And we really want to kind of nurture that relationship between Indy Urban Acres so we can kind of share knowledge on how we're growing. Like one of their employees, Jay, who's been working there for 10 years, he wants to start his own farm. So we're trying to get him the tools he needs to help start his farm. So that's kind of, it's been really great so far. I don't know if you can see in the first picture, but that is a picture of the farm about 3 weeks ago. It's a lot of it's already planted. About 80% of it is. Another goal for us is to be able to create a plan or a farm model so that the project can be replicated in the future. And in terms of a timeline, we're almost fully planted. Really with farming, one of the biggest costs is labor. And I'm helping supplement my employees' income by working on this project throughout the week. So that's kind of where we are. And we're really interested in the Food Hub project that's being discussed currently throughout Indianapolis. And it just so happens to be like this is a great way for us to figure out what it would look like if we were to expand what we are already growing with little risk to us, but great benefit to the food pantries. And so that's my project. And I'm going to pass it off to Mike McFarland with Indy's Fresh Market, and he can talk about his awesome project. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Daniel. If you had images that you were sharing, we couldn't see any images. Did you want to show images?
I thought I was sharing, but the slides are in the file share. I thought I was sharing. Sorry. Am I sharing now?
Yes, we can see now.
Okay. Where are they? Here we go. So just to get back to the beginning, you can kind of see that's what the plot looks like. We're implementing some 1940s technology with some modern day cultivating tools to really kind of minimize labor. I can talk about that if you would like. And then you can kind of see there's a picture of all of us planting 17,000 onions about a month and a half ago. So the project's underway. We're doing it whether or not we get funding or not. And it's just been great, a great effort on Indy Urban Acres and my team. So yeah, it's been great. Does anyone have any questions?
Looks like a great piece of land.
Yeah, it's the only problem is there's no water. You know, water is a big one. So I have a tank that I donated to Indy Urban Acres, and they're filling it up. But it's only like 250 gallons, maybe 200 gallons. So it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Water is definitely a challenge. So with that, I'll pass it off to Michael McFarland. Mike McFarland with Indy Fresh Market, and he's got a great project. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. My name is Michael McFarland. My project is called Food Deserts No More. I apologize because I'm having technical difficulties sharing my project. So I'll flip my camera around if I can to show. Let's see. Can you guys see that? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can see it.
see it.
Okay, I'm sorry. So my project again is called Food Deserts No More. Our plan is to eradicate food deserts across Indianapolis via means of refrigerator lockers that can be placed in neighborhoods that have poor or inadequate transportation services for the neighborhood. Some options for the food locker is you're able to order online. This is a picture of one of the food lockers. Basically, you can order online and have the items delivered to the refrigerator food locker so it stays fresh. You can also order at the terminal at the food locker, which in a certain time span, the groceries can be delivered to the food locker in the appropriate neighborhood as an option to feed personnel. We're looking to service the east side of Indianapolis from 30th and Emerson to the far east side of Indianapolis. Here goes some more color options. Lockers can be decorated and placed with advertisement and other options to attract customers. But this is my project, and I think it's a great option, like I said, to provide an option for neighborhoods that don't have access to fresh food, and it also is a great option in neighborhoods where it might not have access to land to provide a grocery store option for purchasing food. So, and also it's also contactless, so it's a great option for today's means of with the coronavirus scares and everything. So that's my project, and I'll pass it on to Erica Jaree if anybody doesn't have any questions.
I do have a question. So they order the food and then you place it into the locker and then they come and pick it up?
Yes, so I forgot to mention, this is going to be in conjunction with my grocery store, Indy Fresh Market, which is in construction right now. So basically they will have the option to order from a website, and then the food will be delivered to the refrigerator locker in their neighborhood, whether it be, like I said, a neighborhood or apartment complex that has a lot of residents. So they will order, and then, like I said, the food will be delivered to the locker, and then customer puts in the access code, which gives them access to the locker, and then they can transport the food to their residence.
Can I just
Okay, that
ask
sounds
a
really cool. I have another question. My other question is, what about the people that don't have internet access? Because, well, like, what are the other options for that?
You can also order it's a option at the terminal to order, food, and then it will be delivered within a time limit,
All right, thank you so much. It sounds great.
Thank you.
We also have one more
quick question about the lockers. Are you going to be installing lockers in places, or they're not Amazon lockers or something, right?
No, they'll be independently owned
Uh-huh.
and operated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The advertising is a great idea too. The painting the lockers with the ads. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Z, I interrupted when you were speaking, but Michael, there is one more question in the chat that says, what are the locker measurements, and can lockers have any business promoted on them?
The locker options or sizes are customizable. You can, like I said, you can order, you can have them customized to the customer's needs. And yes, you can advertise for local businesses and such. So.
I'm sorry, the question was, can the lockers be stored in a business? My apologies.
Yes, they can be stored but they're better suited for outdoor, somewhere that I think it would work better with options where customers can have access to it at all times. It works great as a standalone option for customers and residents. Sorry, and like I said, I'll pass it to Erica Jaree if there's no other questions.
And so Erica is not currently on the call with us, but we're happy to hear from the next neighborhood food champion. We'll be hearing from Ross Jameson.
Good evening, everyone. I have a video to show, and this video was filmed 2 nights ago at our first gathering of the neighborhood. And it was pretty special because it's the first one we've had in like 2 years because of COVID. So let me see if I can get this going. Those are the ones. Can you all see that? It says Gardens on the Oxford. Can't hear anything.
We can hear you, but I don't see anything on the screen.
Give me 1 second. What about now?
So we're seeing a white screen.
In a white screen. Let me stop the share and start over. Why isn't it showing up? Can you see my internet?
Nope.
No. Okay. Share sound. Share.
We're seeing your screen now.
Yeah, I'm just not getting the video here. Let me see if I can find it again real quick. Not What about that? Hi, we are Ross and Bethany Jameson, and we are the founders of the Gardens on Oxford in the Brookside neighborhood on the Near East Side of Indianapolis.
We both have an interesting journey with food, and over time discovered that we live in one of the largest food deserts in the United States. And we wanted to address food insecurity in a tangible way, but we had a lot of learning to do in the process.
In January of 2016, we bought our first home with a vacant lot. In 2018, we started our first garden with help from multiple generous offers, and were able to start our first seeds and grow our first produce for the neighborhood.
Last year during 2020, during the pandemic, when things were crazy, we were still able to give produce to 40 families in the neighborhood, and we hope sincerely that that number grows.
So to build that community in the midst of learning about growing food, we discovered permaculture. With the permaculture principles that we were able to apply in our garden, we were able to bring in the diversity of the food forest, use fruit trees.
We grow a variety of different plants just to spark curiosity. You know, it's really fun when kiddos in the neighborhood or even adults come over and I give them a nasturtium to a flower to eat in their garden, and they come back and they tell me how peppery it was. The garden is really an invitation for people to just be who they are and a safe place for them to interact with each other and interact with the ground.
So to bring the vision of the community together, we decided that we wanted to have in the center of the gardens a community table. This community table will be around 20 foot long and built out of white oak, and it will serve a purpose of gatherings, whether it be examples of how to prepare food, to have meals, to have just social gatherings.
We've even heard from our neighbors that they want us to host a conversation about how to reduce gun violence in our neighborhood. We never envisioned a garden without a table. They work in tandem, and our table in our home is so sacred to our family. And so this table outside is literally just an extension of our nuclear family to our community. We really just want the garden to be a place where people can belong and people can be exactly who they are, as they are, with no questions asked.
All right, well, that was it. And I'm open for questions, or I'll pass it on.
Okay, my hand's up.
Hi,
Ross,
Sybil. Hey, Sybil.
man, I am in love. I'm in love with you and your family, okay? I just want to know, have you by any chance read this book called Animal Vegetable Miracle?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, we have to hook up so I can give this to you, okay?
Yes,
because
definitely.
as I was watching the video, I thought about this book. That's my question. That's it.
Thank you. So, Any others? Nope. We'll pass it to the next cohort, which is Graham Melendez. Oh,
I have a question.
all right, go ahead.
I'm wondering about the table.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be able to get the table with your project award, or what will that look like?
Most of, I would say half of the table has already either been purchased. I also have the base of the table, which is going to be made out of steel, I got from my work. And then I'm going to have a fellow employee of mine, a coworker. He's going to put that together for me, weld it all up together. And then I'm a carpenter, so I already have all the white oak to build the top. So that was purchased prior to obviously getting the money. So it's going to go back to fill that space back in from it coming out of my own pocket. Anything else? All right, well, let's do it again. Next is Graham Melendez. Go, Graham.
Unfortunately, Graham could not make this call, and so we would love to hear from Autumn Laurie.
Hi, I'm Autumn Lowry. Let me see if I can share this screen. Can you see it?
Yes, good.
Okay, let me move this out of the way. Okay, so my name is Autumn Lowry, and I'm an intensive case manager for Horizon House Housing Program. I'm also a community health worker and a master gardener. The food access and insecurity became really apparent last year during the pandemic because we have now almost 200 families in homes that were formerly homeless, and we had to figure out how to get them all food when access to the food pantries changed. So sometimes that meant us sitting for hours in line at the food pantries, loading up boxes to take to our families. I met Pastor Howard years ago in the INRC community leadership classes, and he invited me at that time to help him do a community garden at his church, which we did. And then he also mentored my son for several years. So I reached back out to him during the pandemic, and I just asked if he needed help in the garden, if I could come volunteer, and he presented me with this project. He told me that the church was purchasing a former IPS School 11 in the Meadows. The building's been vacant, I believe, for a few years now. It is located in a food desert, and we have about 1/3 of an acre designated for the farm. There are several nearby gardens, Temple Gardens with Danielle Guerin, MLT, and then Tuba Gardens is with Mame Busto from our class. And so I look forward to hopefully partnering with them. Interesting fact about our property is what is known as the Meadows today used to be Roberts Dairy Farm, and the Roberts family owned quite a bit of land.
Probably really good soil.
I don't know if our property is on the dairy farm, but I do believe we are on their agricultural land. So I'm waiting on Brooke Alfred came out from Purdue Extension and helped me take soil samples. So we're waiting for the samples to come back to figure out if we can return this land to its original intended purpose and direct sow. So that's the anthro nerd in me. I had to do some digging. So our vision for Plant to Plate project is to engage the community in creating a from the ground up urban farm, provide fresh produce to local restaurants and grocers at reasonable pricing, and also give away produce. We hope to create a self-sustaining, community-sustaining model by selling our produce to local food vendors and businesses, hopefully Indie Fresh Market, Michael McFarland. We will also use this as an opportunity to educate participants on sales, procurement, and distribution. Participants could be youth, formerly incarcerated neighbors, or other interested participants. And we plan to form a planning committee with community members that are interested in assisting and guiding the project. I've attended a few neighborhood meetings with, and also networked with local businesses, organizations, and restaurants. This project will help fund our project. And I was also fortunate enough to submit to be a collaborator for the Anthem List Foundation grant with the United Northeast Development Corporation, should they be chosen. And I also plan to work with the Master Gardener program. As I mentioned, I am a Master Gardener, and they have so many resources. And I recently trained to be a Junior Master Gardener program facilitator. So I can facilitate youth in the 4-H Junior Master Gardener program if that's something that the community would be interested in. These are neighborhood assets I've identified. Obviously the neighbors, churches, there's so many churches in the area. Avondale Meadows, YMCA, local schools, United Northeast Development Corporation, active neighborhood associations, including Keystone Millersville Neighborhood Association, and our new grocery store. If you have questions, you can contact me, Autumn Lowry, at autumn1lowry@gmail.com, or my phone number is 317-459-3847. And our official kickoff date will be August 1st from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'll be out there so we can do volunteer signups, planning committee signups, and we would like to, with the first part of the stipend, purchase the materials to construct 3 raised beds so that we can either get some fall crops in the ground or be ready to go with some planting in the spring. And then at that time, people can bring any donated garden tools or things that they would like to donate to the project. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions? I can't hear. Good, no questions? Then I will pass to Amber Toombs.
All righty, so Amber Toombs is now on the call with us. And so we are so excited to hear from Veronica Collins Kelly.
Good evening, everyone. I see a familiar name, so I just want to give a shout out and say hi to Ashley Gervitz. She played a major role in the beginnings of the Rock Initiative. So hi, Ashley.
Hello, hello.
Okay. Again, good evening. My name is Veronica Collins Kelly, and we're almost to the end. So thank you to everyone for staying alert and awake. The project I am working on is the ROC Initiative, where ROC stands for Renewing Our Community for the Kingdom. It was a vision that was seen by Pastor Jeffrey A. Johnson Sr., who is the senior pastor of Eastern Star Church. And the ROC Initiative consists of 4 pillars, where number 1 is building community within the 46218 area code or zip code. Also, number 2 is providing housing. Number 3 is finances. And number 4 is education. So if you look back under pillar number 1, you see food availability. That is my primary specific role of concentration. And that's where we had the launch of the Rock Fresh Market, which happened August 20th of 2018. And I'm not sure if Mayor Hogsett is still on the line, but we appreciate him and his staff coming out. They were there for our ribbon cutting. So again, thank you. Our mission statement for the Rock Fresh Market is, the mission of the Rock Fresh Market is to provide access to healthy, affordable food and nutrition education. A few of the items that we carry in the store are core staples like the milk, eggs, bread, bottled water, 100% juices. We also carry the fruits and vegetables. They can be, some of them are fresh, frozen, and canned. We also have the infant food and care items and toiletries. And finally, we are SNAP and WIC approved, which is great for the community. Some of the people we've partnered with and they provided helped us with our needs are the Rock Urban Farm, which is also another part of the Rock Initiative, where May through October we grow fresh vegetables and they supply that to the Rock Fresh Market. Several of us I've heard talk about being helped by Purdue Extension. We have TVs that are set up in our store and they have a loop where they're talking about nutrition education as well as recipes and videos of different types of vegetables, how to prepare them. So for Miss Sybil, they even have one for, wait for it, eggplant. They also have or held educational classes in our hub, and they were 6-week classes. And they provided us with handouts that we have a wall rack where we display all of that information. And as the customers come in, they're able to help themselves and learn about different topics. We've worked with Cooking Matters, which is another organization where they came in for 4 weeks and they helped us for people who signed up, our customers that came in, we asked them if they would be interested in any type of classes or education. Of course, the ones who signed up, they came back and the Cooking Matters experts taught them how to meal prep and then gave cooking demos. And at the end of it, which I thought was really great, they gave them the actual grocery list of items that they can take home and make that same meal again. We've also worked with the Indie Food Coalition, where it's a collaboration between local grocers and the local gardeners. Just best practices, discussing any problems we have and the best way to solve those problems. And finally, of course, we were lucky enough to be able to participate with the Neighborhood Food Champions as a neighborhood food builder and building connections and additional resources, and of course, learning how to write grants. The funding that we would use upon receiving would be for print marketing materials like flyers, newspapers, and postcard ads, as well as promotional items, be it totes, giveaways. We'd like to do a community day once a month where we could, hand those totes out to people with nutrition education material in the totes. And then also to offset market discounts. That way we can offer the items in the store at a lower price for our customers. The Rock Fresh Market is located at 5620 East 30th Street, suite number D, and that is in the 46218 zip code. There's the website. We're at easternstarchurch.org. You click on community and then click on Rock Fresh Market. And of course, my email address is listed there. And that is the end of that. Are there any questions for me? If not, we'll pass it to the last person, Miss D.
Hello, how is everyone tonight?
Good.
Okay, so bear with me. Autumn, great minds think alike. Let's see here. Okay, so my project is Graham's Gardens, Inc. The name comes from my own grandmother who no one ever left her home hungry. And if she found out someone was hungry, she was probably going to end up in your home. So our garden is in phases. I probably should have used the word facets, but we have our donation garden that is over 2,000 square feet this year, closer to 2,100, which is an increase of about 25% from last year. We donated over 520 pounds of produce last year to local pantries from that garden, and our goal this year is 1,000 pounds. We also will have some community garden areas in another phase where neighbors who don't either don't have the space to garden or need the education on how to garden can come and get a spot to grow their own vegetables. And we know that to get everything you need to garden can be kind of a lofty expense in the beginning. So we intend on having like tools and hose and shovels and things like that available for use at that community area. We also have people lined up already that if someone is unable to make the donation, which is minimal, to reserve their own spot, we have sponsors lined up to cover those. So anybody that wants to garden will be able to garden. Then we have an area that is closest to my heart. It is the handicap accessible raised beds and our educational garden center. And we are setting that off aside from the rest of it. We're extremely lucky this phase got moved up because we had a Boy Scout whose Eagle Scout project got canceled and asked if he could do something in the gardens. So we have the foundational aspects of this down. We have the raised beds that are at the height where a wheelchair can go under them and use them, but they're also still high enough to where someone who's unable to garden on the ground can still comfortably garden in these beds. I'm super excited about the educational center. It is set up in a U-shaped so that we can plant a little bit every couple of weeks, and then we can bring in youth or children, schools, scouts, to show them how their food is grown and how it progresses. Because I was really surprised when I moved to Indianapolis, because I am from the country, of how many children and some adults that don't know where their food comes from other than a grocery store. And so since we are also in a budding artist community, we're bringing art into this area, and we will have some rotating installations. We're going to have some benches so they can enjoy it and not feel, the benches are mostly there so that if someone is gardening that's handicapped, they can sit down. But we don't want them to feel like, oh, let's just hear if I can't do it. So they can enjoy some art that's there. We want to make it as welcoming as possible for them. And we have a wonderful suggestion that was made. These little art, the little libraries that you see with book exchanges, to put something in there that is art and garden related that will change monthly. So that is exciting. And then additionally, we're going to have some delivery for elderly, shut-ins, handicaps, or those that are unable to get to the food pantries. We have one of our neighborhood associations that we are working with has gotten their hands on a golf cart, and they are having it outfitted for city street use. And they're going to assist us with the delivery. In addition to a lot of the schools around here are now requiring community service hours for students to graduate. And so we have a bunch of those students that are wanting to help us with that. We kind of border between two neighborhoods. We are actually in the Garfield Park Neighborhood Association, but 8 houses away is the Bean Creek Neighborhood Association. So in dealing with both of those, they're both willing participants to help with a lot of this. And I found that according to the Hoosier Hills Food Bank, 1 in 5 children and 1 in 12 seniors are food insecure here. And to me, that is a heartbreaking number that we need to fix. And both neighborhoods, both Garfield Park and Bean Creek, are considered by Savvy to be low income, low access. Garfield Park is listed as being 1 mile from a grocery. That grocery is a Safeway. We'll leave it at that. And then, but Bean Creek is listed as a food desert. And so they don't have a lot of options. What our goals are is to provide produce to the food pantries that will help feed these communities. We want to teach people how to grow their own produce, because you can even, if you have a bucket, you can grow a tomato. We want to be able to deliver nutrient-rich produce to those that are unable to obtain it themselves. This comes because we have a large number of elderly in our area, and they have family that come on days that they get their Social Security and take them to the grocery, and they don't see them again until the next Social Security check. So the only truly fresh items they're getting is once a month. And we would like to change that. Our goal for delivery is going to be to try to have a salad in each delivery. And that way they at least have that. And we want to provide space for members of the community to grow their own produce. So as this shows, we have donation garden, community garden, educational garden, all working together. And then finally, we want everyone to know they can garden. Kids need to know where their food comes from. It's fun. And as the old saying goes, you get tomatoes. And I'm proud to say that these are my short people there. So everybody loves to be in the garden. Thank you. Any questions?
I love that old saying.
Me too. And the little one, the littlest girl that had the big bow in her head, she'd pick every tomato in that garden if you don't stop her.
Good
Okay,
job.
if no one has questions, is it Mame? Is she here to pass it on to her?
I believe she called in. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Are you there? She's had some technical difficulties, so we're gonna just, say our blessings over her tech right now.
Okay, she says she's talking.
No, she's still muted. She just has to unmute herself. So while we're waiting, I just want to say, I guess I can turn my camera back on. I'm not doing anything. Great presentations. Good job. I'm excited for your projects. I think also what we wanted to get you guys to know, two things while Iana is helping. One, we are going to do a celebration. This is something that, last year, the last cohort weren't able to do because of COVID. We weren't able to really get together. I think some of us got together doing the food tour that we do later in the summer. But we are going to do kind of a food celebration. One, we have a lot of goodies for you. Remember, I told you we ordered books and we have things. Sorry, time for Amir to go to bed. You heard Alexa in the back. We'll have goodies, we'll have food. We'll be able to celebrate all of you and last year's food champions. Also, like I said, for the first time, we're going to be offering maintenance mini grants for our alumni food champion, so they'll be able to get some dollars to help them this summer. So that is a new thing as well. And what else do we have? Awesome, Z. I think we had some good things. Iana, how are we doing?
We are still working on unmuting.
Okay. And then lastly, we are having the call out for the sugary, reducing sugary beverages ambassador meeting, which I believe is in June 10th. So we are looking for food champions who are interested in working with us in Top 10, American Heart Association, and the Y on just raising public awareness about how we can reduce sugary beverages for our children and families. And we're looking for food champions to become ambassadors for that project. We are providing stipends for your voice. So we're not just asking you to volunteer your time, but we are going to provide a stipend. So if you're interested in learning more, there is going to be a Zoom meeting next Thursday. I believe that's the 10th. I think that's the 10th. And we'll have more about that. We already have about 14 folks signed up, so we're excited to see the interest in that, and excited to work with Top 10 and, like I said, the health department and Hawaii and all of that. We're providing the public awareness piece, and the American Heart Association and Top 10 are going to be working on policy later this year to see what kind of policy changes that can happen. So like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know. How are we doing, Iana?
We're doing great.
That does not help us over here.
Okay, perfect.
Do we get it?
Yes. So I would
Okay.
love to thank everyone
Awesome.
for your patience. We're still going strong. We only lost 2 people. I'm so excited to introduce Mom Busso, last but certainly not least. And so we're going to do it from my audio, and I have her on the line here with me. So can you guys hear Mom Busso?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, we hear you.
Oh, great. Wonderful, wonderful. I'm trying to get in. So, hey, well, I'm glad to finally make it and be a part of this great presentation. I've enjoyed listening to everybody, although I couldn't see you, but I enjoyed listening. So, here we go. What is Tuba Gardens? Tuba Gardens Farm to Table is an urban farm located in a food desert near downtown Indianapolis. Our physical location is 2258 Bellefontaine in Indianapolis, 46205. Tuba Gardens is a newly established 4-H club, and we've been trained as a junior master gardener leader. And also we've partnered with many concerned growers and farmers, stakeholders within Indianapolis, such as Groundworks Indy, Mother's Love Garden, Esther with Felici Highlight Center, Avon Meadows, and other residents that are really passionate about eating wholesome food and utilizing organic practices to grow food. Tuba Gardens 4-H Club has also established a very unique relationship in Senegal, West Africa, where now there's a Tuba Gardens in Senegal as well. So the next slide, it's showing pretty much some youth in the community that we've worked with over the years. And our motto or our mission is to teach youth how to grow food, how to plant food. Teaching our youth the benefits of growing their own food. Our mission is to teach youth how to plant seeds for a better tomorrow, whether it's from Indianapolis or from a farm in Africa, whether it's downtown, out west. We all need to realize the significance and benefits of growing our own food. The next slide, we show here just a little bit how food, it can be a problem because food is something that we all are going to need. So why should it be a problem? You know, you would think that it would be easy for someone in Africa to grow food, but they face the same problems that we face. There's no access to clean water. And so, well, what would be the problem here in the US? As we see in our own backyards, many youth do not even understand the process of the food system. Like Dee just mentioned, you know, sometimes you would think a Cheeto or a Dorito was what they think is something healthy, just because it's fun to eat. The next slide, the solution is easy. Saving seeds from a watermelon, peppers, cucumbers, or squash is a great way to not only save money and grow food, but it's teaching us how to save seeds, how to do for self. And, you know, like this little saying here, we cannot force someone to hear a message that they're not ready to receive, but we must never underestimate the power of planting a seed. And the next slide, you will see is just a picture of some of the elements within our farm, pollinator plants that attract beneficial butterflies and bees. And then the next slide is just showing you some of the process or the growth that we've made from a plot that has a bunch of grass until now where we have an art shed and we have some established trees and pollinator patch, you know, different little elements in the farm that we need. So in the next slide, here are some of our efforts that we've made in fundraising, whether it's from selling T-shirt or meat vending in a farmer's market. And we hope to eventually create our own farmer's market soon. So with the next slide, here's just some photos of the mini tomatoes that we had harvested a couple years back. And we come to the question of what's next. Our next step is to establish a sound solar rain barrel watering system and to develop an online appearance to enhance our visibility and our marketing skills. And that way we'll be able to increase our overall growing area. The next slide is just showing, well, this is our future food processing center or food hub. It's painted where through a grant with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful and the Indie Arts Council. We painted that house. It was empty. We just wanted to kind of like spruce it up. And what we've been doing is adding some public art displays to the community as well. And we eventually want to use this property to, like I said, create a food processing center or food hub. And so here in the next slide, it's just showing some of the many ways to eliminate food waste. Like for example, I do partner with Sister Zainab and the Al Fajr Food Pantry. And so whenever there's produce that we may get that, you know, they're not able to use, we use that produce in making compost bins, compost bags, just composting to enrich the soil. And then this last slide here is just some of the youth at our at Tuber Gardens in Senegal, and they're visiting a local farm where they're learning about growing food as well. So that's pretty much it for me. And if there's any questions, I'm available to answer anything, any questions anybody may have.
Could you repeat the address where you're located?
That's 2258 Bellefontaine.
Great,
That's
thank
in
you.
Indianapolis, 46205.
Thank you.
Busa, I really appreciate the focus on the children and the junior 4-H and all that. That's unique, I think. And I think we probably need to do more of that. Wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your participation as well. I appreciate working with you all over at the pantry. it. That's it for me. No, if there's no more questions, I was a little nervous after all of the technical difficulties, but I hope I got the gist of it and you're able to understand the whole purpose of Tuba Garden. So thanks everyone for hanging in there and listening. Have a good night.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. That was so great. Thanks, Deanna, for your tech skills. Made that happen. We worked it out. I appreciate all of you so much. I tell people all the time, all the programs we have at CWU, this is my favorite. I was like, this is my favorite program. And I really do mean that because you can see the work that you all are doing. And I'm so glad that myself, Malele, and Ian are here to help and do what we can. And I'm glad to see all the partnerships that you guys are developing with each other. It's awesome. Going to keep that going. The next thing is our proposals next Tuesday. Get those proposals in. You already have done most of the work in your presentations. Take all this stuff that you just presented to us and put it in that written proposal. And then we cut checks. We get that first project award and get going. So you're not done with us, it's just a different phase. So I don't have anything to say. Malele, Iana, I don't know if you wanted to say anything. I know people are tired, but
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Are we meeting or just turning in the proposal?
We are not meeting. We will not meet. We are done with the meetings. This is our last gathering. So I just sent that out so you guys have that on your calendar that you need as a reminder to get your proposals in. So we're not meeting unless, like I said, we can get this food celebration on the calendar and you guys can come together and kind of do a meet and greet and see each other face to face. As we're kind of lifting some of the COVID restrictions, it'll be a good time to kind of come together. That way you guys can see each other.
This would be a great time for me to ask, when it comes to us meeting and having a celebration, would you guys prefer a weekend, like a Saturday afternoon, or an afternoon on maybe a Thursday?
Thursday. Yeah, I'd personally prefer the week because I do paid events on the weekends.
Yeah, through the week would be better for me.
I work till 5 every night.
Okay, we'll work it out, everybody. We'll definitely work that through, but we want to, like I said, we want to have last year's cohort and this cohort kind of come together in one big kind of celebration, kind of meet and greet. But like I said, the next phase is just getting your proposals in.
One question now, post proposal, you did mention checking in on our projects. I just wanted to know a timeline of when you guys would be on site and if that would be an on-site endeavor, rather.
It's on site, but it's later July-ish. It's not anytime. We'll give you time to actually get something to show us. We'll be there. We'll cut you a check and then be there the next week, right? So,
all right, what did you do?
So we'll give you some time to show us something, and we'll just get those scheduled out. And like I said, later this summer, we'll also do an indie food tour. Last year, Rock Fresh was on our list of one of the locations. Danielle, you guys met during the community garden training. We visited her garden. We wanted to pick a food champion. So we'll do that again where we'll all come together and we'll go to different locations through the city. And so we can see what other people are doing who are not necessarily food champions, but are doing great work in the community. So those are some of the things that are coming up. Just kind of keep a close ear to what's happening with Malele in her office, because we have Indie Food Fund that comes out this fall. I'm sure there's the things that are coming out with the Anthem and List opportunity that might be coming out soon, so you guys can see what's happening with those neighborhood applications. And God bless all the neighborhoods who submitted, because I know it was kind of a monster of an application. But there's just some great work that's going to be done this year around food in the different neighborhoods. So with that said, I'm tired, and I know you guys are tired. So
Can I ask one more question?
yes. Yeah.
That first $1,000.
Yes.
Now when is that going to be? I know you probably already said it 100 times.
I
But,
didn't say it 100 times. It's going to be next Friday. I'm going to sit, I promise. I'm going to sit and pump those out. I will say those folks who are using Cash App, I may not want to use Cash App. So I need to get with you all. Cash App is a little too wonky for that amount of money.
Fees and
Yeah, to put through Cash App has way too many problems. So I may want to reach out to you all to see if we can use a PayPal or another means, or just a regular old school paper check can work as well. But I don't want to utilize Cash App for that amount because they have been known to freeze up people's accounts when it gets big and do some really crazy stuff. So we'll talk through that next week for those who have been getting their stipends through Cash App to make sure that you can get your project award in a safe manner. And like I said, last year I just passed out paper checks, so that might be the way to do it and kind of call it a day.
Did you send us examples of people's proposals in email?
I can.
Okay.
Yep, I can send you some of the last year's and the year before their proposals so you can take a look.
There's also an outline too that gives a brief description on what each section should look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can send that out. I'll try to send out the higher scoring proposals so that you guys can kind of see those who have scored pretty high. Just know that when we're talking to the reviewers, we are telling the reviewers to score as if this is a proposal that's coming across their desks for funding. And so they have the option to say that they would not fund the project or they will fund the project. That is an option on their matrix to look at. And so I think it helps you to see what you need to do going forward. And like I said, this is really prep for Indie Food Fund. They use the same matrix for that application that we use. So you want to get this really tight for the next funding round with the city because it's larger dollars. You're talking 10,000 versus 2,000. So we want to make sure your proposal is and that's more project driven than individual, where we looked at the person and the project. That is purely what you put on paper about what you're going to do with your project. Does that make sense, everybody? Like I said, Malele, when that comes out, because that's from her office, she'll roll out all, and be able to answer questions when that comes out later in the fall. Okay. I just want to say you guys have done the videos were just, I need to get my video game on up. You guys are doing some great stuff. And so hold on to those things. That's a way to display your projects to the world. So have a good evening. Bye, Sybil's baby who's waving. And you guys have a good evening.
This is Eden. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Good night.
Thank you, everybody, so much. It's wonderful. Just wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.